G'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life. And over the years, Saab was known as being one of the strangest but also one of the most pioneering car companies. Safety was their utmost priority, and when they added turbochargers to their cars from the 1980s and 90s, they proved to be extremely stellar performers. But above all else, they all had unbelievably unique and, in some regards, timeless styling with all sorts of cool features that we'll be exploring today. This, however, was the end of the road for Saab. While this car launched in 2010, just 1 year later in late 2011, after being exchanged around a few different owners, they finally went bankrupt and shut the doors for good. So today we're going to be looking at the last Saab ever created to see if the company really deserved its demise or whether their cars were actually great after all. While underneath, the Saab 9.5 was built on the GM Ypsilon platform, which is exactly what you would find a Holden Insignia to be built upon, and if you squint you can kind of see the resemblance between those two cars. Saab fortunately did all of the exterior styling, and what a pretty car they created. But as soon as you open up the bonnet, you find nothing but Holden parts under here. If you couldn't see the Saab badge on top of there, you would genuinely think you're looking under the bonnet of a ZB Commodore. This one has a 2-litre turbocharged engine, makes 162 kilowatt or 220 horsepower and 350 newton meters of torque. You could also get it with a 1.6 turbo or a 2.8 litre V6 turbo, the same engine you would find in a Holden or Vauxhall Insignia VXR. Transmission options were a 6-speed manual. This one, however, has the, in theory, very smooth Aisin 6-speed automatic transmission, sending its power to just the front wheels, although with certain engine configurations you could also get an all-wheel drive system, handy for those Swedish winters. Because this car was only in production for around a year, Saab made just 11,000 of these cars, and this one is the only one here in New Zealand. It was originally sold in Singapore, imported into New Zealand a handful of years ago, and has been cruising around New Zealand streets ever since. And now, the interior. And I really feel like I'm behind the wheel of a Commodore now. The steering wheel is exactly the same as a VF Commodore. All of the light switches and gauge cluster dimmers over here are all Holden switchgear. The start-stop button is straight out of a Holden, so is the handbrake. But the good news is Saab has put enough touches on the interior to make it just that little bit more special. It has the awesome night panel feature, which dims all of the gauges except the central speedo. The gauges themselves look really cool with the classic green needles, and while I certainly would have preferred a black interior rather than this beige, the seats are very comfortable. The back seats have a lot of room, and while it does feel a wee bit VF Commodorian here, overall Saab has done just enough to make it their own while using the GM parts that they were kind of handed on a plate. And so now let's take the final Saab ever created for a spin to see what it's like. Driving the Saab 9.5. I have turned sport mode on, night panel is disengaged, and wow, that's not very much power. It is extremely quiet, comfortable. This would be like an ideal daily. The steering wheel feels nice, the seats are so plush, and when just cruising around, the transmission is smooth, the engine is very quiet, you can barely even hear it up there at all. But already I can tell the steering is pretty vague, the ride is extremely soft. It is not a sports sedan in the slightest. The transmission does rev match, which is nice, and let's see how it goes, Ah, yeah, okay. There we go. It has enough power to certainly get you up to speed. If you wanted to overtake someone on the open road, it would do that very effectively. And the transmission is so smooth. Third to second, you don't even feel it. And the upshifts, again, they're nice. But yeah, it is definitely not a sports sedan. Down into second, foot down. Very smooth. And if we turn on the night panel, feel that all the gauges drop, just the speedo, not even the screen in the middle, literally just the speedo for cruising on the Swedish autobahn at night. So far, the Saab is a nice car. I guess the problem is it just doesn't really feel like it offers anything above and beyond the Holden insignia with which it was based, and certainly compared with the C7 A6, the F10 5 Series, and the W212 E-Class that was around at the time, this feels a bit more top-spec Toyota Camry than it does European engineering marvel. And to me, that is the problem with Saab. This car has an acceptable transmission. It is decently fast, it's stable on the open road, handles quite nicely, but it's just a car. It's not particularly exciting to drive, nor is it very special, given underneath it's all just GM parts. It doesn't feel like an exotic car at all. But that's not to say that it's bad. It's actually very lovely, very smooth, comfortable. It looks really cool on the outside. And above all else, to know you are driving a bit of long forgotten history is cool. And also knowing that this is the only one of these in New Zealand. But I have to confess that with a not particularly exciting sounding 4-cylinder up the front, the Germans just do a large comfy sedan better. They manage to make it as comfortable as this, but it'll also tear down the open road and do 250 k's an hour on the autobahn if you need it to, whereas this is just a slow, nice car. And so with that, I shall give you one final lovely 2-litre engine noise. Wow. And I will very much look forward to seeing you again next time.